everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel, and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, we're actually back in Sulani. We're doing a tropical build today. It's actually been a while, but slowly but surely I'm going back to my Sulani era. This happens every once in a while. Usually over the early winter months, I just don't really feel like building in Sulani because I'm in the winter vibe and I'm just enjoying the holiday type builds and snowy and stuff. But, you know, it's January, almost February right now, and I can totally feel that I am slowly but surely going back to my Sulani era where I'm sort of craving sunny, warmer weather, even though I'm definitely more of an autumn and winter person than I am a summer person. I feel like it's only natural that at some point you start to crave a little bit more sunlight, maybe, you know, just in general, and also just a little bit warmer weather would be nice every once in a while. Even though it's not that cold where I live in the Netherlands, and it's really not that cold, not that crazy cold in any case. But, you know, it'd be nice to just, you know, I'm kind of excited for spring, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I definitely felt inspired to build something in Sulani, sort of embrace the tropical vibes, live vicariously through the game, and just kind of pretend that I'm here on this beach. It would be so nice, you know. So that's what we're embracing today, and I'm sharing this build that I did on a pretty spacious lot. It's a 50 by 40, I believe, in Sulani, and I don't think I've ever built anything on this lot before, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I do try to stay away from bigger lots, or I don't try to, but I usually just end up staying away from bigger lots because I like my smaller builds. I have done my fair share of larger mansions and stuff over the past few months, I will say, and then after that I just did a bunch of smaller builds again, but today we're doing a bigger one here on a 50 by 40. This is that lot where by default there is a shipwreck kind of build here. I think it's called Admiral's Wreckage, if I'm seeing that correctly. It's really small for me in the corner, so I can't really read it, but I think that's what it says. And yeah, that's the lot where we're building today, and it's so refreshing to sort of build somewhere where you've never done anything before, so that was kind of fun. And we're building a beach farm, which essentially, you know, is a farm on the beach. Does it make a lot of sense realistically? Probably not. I don't think so anyway. Maybe not this close to the ocean and on the beach, but I thought it was fun because I've never done anything like this before. I've done smaller cottages before. Ever since Horse Ranch came out, I think I have done a smaller farm type thing with some chickens and maybe a horse, something like that. But today I wanted to do a really nice one-story farmhouse and try to embrace the Sulani sort of architecture that you kind of see around, but sort of use that but turn it into a farmhouse. So it's definitely different, but you can see that I was kind of going crazy with the roofing here. I was layering different types of roof pieces to kind of get that Sulani vibe of the layered roofs that you can kind of see around on the default builds here in this world. So I was kind of trying to copy that, or I guess take inspiration from that and use that on a farmhouse type build. So it was a lot of fun for me to sort of try and combine those types of styles together. It was very different and, like I said, unlike anything really I've ever done before, I feel. And I just really enjoyed using a lot of Horse Ranch items, build items here in this area, because there's very colorful, fun swatches for those items. For example, I'm using a bunch of those barn doors. As you can see, I think they're so pretty, and they really just work nicely in this area. I did place them in a colorful swatch at first, which was what I wanted. I really was convinced that I would be using very colorful doors and windows on this. I actually just ended up painting the entire house this light blue sort of wood paneling that is really pretty. It's this pastel blue that fits in with these tropical vibes and the colors in Sulani just so nicely. And then I ended up combining that with light wood windows and doors and stuff to kind of tone it down a little bit, because otherwise it would be a little bit too colorful. But yeah, I was enjoying the idea of these teal sliding barn doors. I thought that would be really fun. And for this house, sort of naturally what I like to do in Sulani is I like to create an indoor-outdoor type of living situation. So essentially I just placed a lot of open sliding doors. We have some open bifold doors out of bedrooms as well, and out of a crafts, what ends up being a crafts room type thing. So yeah, there's a lot of just like open doors, open windows, a really nice wraparound porch, as you can probably tell already as well, which I'll be using and like placing a bunch of furniture. We have some outdoor, like an outdoor living area, a couple different outdoor dining areas, just some lounge areas in general. So yeah, it all kind of like seamlessly connects to the inside of the house. And that was sort of what I was trying to create, because I essentially feel like that when you live in Sulani or in a place like this, I guess I'm not familiar with it, but I guess you would have a lot of like indoor outdoor living. You would probably be outside a lot. So that's kind of what I was going for here. And I really, really like how it came out. I love how the shape of this house came out. I didn't have any inspiration for this one. I did go to Pinterest and I searched for like tropical farmhouses or island farmhouses, like stuff like that. I just looked up a bunch of different images and sketches and pictures of different types of farmhouses and like tropical homes. So in my brain, I guess those all just kind of blend together, and then this is what I came up with. It is kind of a lot to take in. I feel there's a lot of roofing going on. I have these giant overhangs where I created, or like where I place these columns for support, and then the rest of the wraparound porch isn't necessarily covered, but parts of it are covered, you know, so it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a mess, I guess, when it comes to the roofing and the shape of it, but that's what I was trying to embrace here as well. I was really enjoying adding boxes to this house, like adding bump outs to bump outs and just adding roof pieces to roof pieces and trying to come up with a interesting kind of shape, I guess, and I think I succeeded. I started building this on medium wall height, actually, if I'm remembering correctly, and I thought that looked nice, but then I ended up placing it on a stilted foundation, pretty tall, so it started to look a little weird and wonky, and so at some point I actually changed it to the lower wall height, which made a lot more sense and just looked a little bit more natural, I want to say. There is something about medium wall height. Tall wall height I barely ever use whatsoever. Medium wall height I'll sometimes use when it suits the house, but even then I struggle decorating when I'm using either medium or tall walls. I don't know why. Some people are so good at it and they make it seem so effortless and seamless and just perfect, and when I do it, my houses just kind of feel like disproportionate. I don't know, it's really strange, but when I do it for some reason, like I said, sometimes it works out. It really depends on the style of the house, but I just have such an easier time decorating when I'm using short wall height or regular wall height, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I ended up doing for this one as well, and it just makes it feel a lot more cozy. I was definitely not going for a very modern type of house. There are some parts of the house that are maybe a little bit more renovated over time, but I was definitely going for this older style farmhouse that is a little bit of a mix and match of older and newer furniture pieces, some very traditional Sulani furniture pieces, but also just some very regular like stuff that you could find in any other home. So it's kind of like a mix and match of that, and I was having a lot of fun, and I made the interior very colorful. I definitely stepped out of my comfort zone with that one, and I thought it was so much fun. It's very colorful on the inside. You'll see it once we get to it, but that will be a little while, because first, this is of course a beach farm. It's not just a farmhouse, it's an actual farm. So I wanted to create some areas where we have some trees, we have some orchards, like some produce going on. So I obviously had to use the plantain trees that came with the Island Living expansion pack. I thought that was perfect. I also placed an area with avocado trees, which, if I'm not mistaken, are actually from the Jungle Adventure pack. I could be wrong, but I think so. There's also coconut trees, which would have been perfect, but the debug coconut trees that I tried to place actually don't show up in the game. They show up, but not as full-grown trees, just as like just planted. So it's just like a little bit of a mud pile, essentially. It's not an actual tree or bush or anything just yet. So I didn't end up placing those. I could have gone through gameplay actually and like have my sim just grow them, and that would have worked, but I just ended up going for the coconut trees and the plantain trees instead. I feel like that works perfectly fine. And then obviously I also placed a shed. We ended up doing 2 horse stables in here. There's no enclosed space, like outdoor space for the horses, but we were just kind of pretending. I don't think this is a full-on island area. I think this is somewhere like connected to, I guess, the mainland. But we were kind of pretending that the horses are very chill, like beach island horses, and they can just kind of roam free here and enjoy the beach. They probably won't wander far. That's kind of what we were imagining. So they can just kind of hang out here on the lot and on the beach and have a great time. That's what we were imagining. We thought that would be so dreamy and just totally fit the vibe. And it made it so that I didn't actually need to make space for an enclosed space, because as large as this lot is, I for sure thought I was going to have so much space left over. I actually didn't have any space left over whatsoever. I was running out of space. So yeah, the house turned out so much bigger than I initially had planned. But yeah, it's really spacious. It is only, I say only, but it's a 3-bedroom house. They're kind of spacious bedrooms. I feel like if you did the floor plan a little bit differently, you could have 4 bedrooms, because we do have this little craft room that you could easily extend out into what is the hallway a little bit more, and then that could definitely be a 4th bedroom. So there's definitely room to renovate and maybe add some bedrooms to it. But what I ended up doing was 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, one of them being a hall bath, and then 2 en-suites. And I was kind of thinking that this could be a really cute multi-generation farmhouse. Whenever I build farmhouses, I just have this vision in my brain of it being in the family for generations on end, and we just have multiple generations living in one house. So I was definitely imagining a grandparent, maybe 2, but I feel like in my brain it was just one grandparent and then 2 parents, and then we have a teenager and a kid actually sharing a bedroom. So that's the shared kids room. And then I was thinking 2 horses. I ended up placing a couple of mini goats and mini sheep as well on this lot. We have a chicken coop. I made space for a cat inside as well. We have like a cat tree and just like all the cat necessities. So that's there. So yeah, it can be a really full household with a bunch of animals. Of course, cats and horses take up space in the household as well. So it really depends on how many of those you want, or like how many of those you can have, depending on the amount of Sims that you have in the household, which obviously that's a thing as well. But I did make space for 2 horses, so you can have those, or you can just have one and then have one of the stables be for the mini sheep and mini goat. I really have to keep myself from saying baby sheep and baby goats. I keep wanting to call them that because they're so small, but they're not actually babies, they're just tiny. And they're so cute, and I feel like I need to make use of them more often. I just kind of forget that they exist, but they're so cute. So I did end up placing those here. You can obviously delete them, but those animals don't actually take up household space, and they're actually just in debug. So if you look up the Horse Ranch debug or live edit or both, I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but they're actually there. So you can just grab them out of the menu or out of the catalog and plunk them on your lot and change the swatch for the color. It's actually kind of funny. So yeah, that's what I did for this one. And then here, obviously, we have a bunch of landscaping to do. And for Sulani landscaping, I always struggle a little bit because it is the beach. So how much landscaping is there really? But this lot is not actually a waterfront lot. It is a little bit, just a tiny bit farther away from the actual ocean. I mean, it's right there, but it's not like bordering the ocean, if that makes sense, like the lot itself in any case. And as you can see, there's a lot of greenery and rocks and trees around this area as well. So I felt really inspired to kind of try to blend it in as seamlessly as I possibly could with the rest of the like surrounding landscaping. So that's what I tried to do here. I ended up placing a bunch of rocks. I definitely made use of the Sulani debug. I feel like if not everything, most of this landscaping is out of the debug menu from specifically Sulani, of course, because that makes it blend seamlessly. So that's what I ended up doing, and I think it looked so fun, or it was so much fun to do, and I think it turned out really pretty as well. It was definitely very overwhelming at first because this lot is pretty spacious and there was a lot of landscaping. This house is on stilts, and I always feel like it looks so bare if you just leave it like that. So I really felt the need to go around the entire house and place all these like patches of like these low-lying bushes and flowers and like make it look pretty and lush. And once I get started on landscaping, I simply just can't stop. So at some point I really just had to stop myself from adding more and more plants. But in any case, I do still feel like it looks very lush, and the way it turned out, I feel like works really well for this house. I did go a little overboard in certain areas, but it's just so much fun. Once I'm landscaping, it's like, it almost feels like it's so relaxing for me. It feels like I'm doing like a, like I'm coloring or something, you know? I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know how to better explain it than that, but it feels like I'm coloring and just like in my zone. It's like super relaxing for me for whatever reason. It's so fun to do. So yeah, I definitely went a little overboard, but I think that's fine, especially for this area. I feel like it fits in. And then I also placed this tiny pond by the house. Again, realistically, I'm not sure how much sense that makes actually, but I just thought it looked really cute and it added like a nice splash of blue. I was trying to find a water type that blends in with the actual ocean water. So I think I ended up using actual pool water in this tiny pond. But yeah, it blends in with the ocean water nicely. So that's what I went with. And I actually placed these debug ladders off of the foundation into the water. They're debug ladders, and also Sims just by default can't actually swim in ponds. They can fish in ponds if you place like a fishing sign. Sometimes they can like wade into the pond if it's like not too steep around the edges, I think, but they can't swim in it. But I was just kind of pretending that they would sometimes just like take a dip in this tiny pond that they have by the house. I don't know, I just thought it was cute. So I placed those debug ladders off of the foundation to kind of mimic that. I also placed a floaty in there, which again is not functional, but I just thought it looked fun and it was just a nice little detail added to this house, I felt. And then here I was obviously going crazy with some terrain paint. I created this like nice green like grass patches on this lot because you can kind of see that around on the island as well. So I was kind of trying to mimic that, and I think that really breaks up the empty space really nicely by just adding those like green patches. I just feel like that looks really nice. So that is definitely something I'm gonna have to keep in mind for my future Sulani builds because I just feel like it works really well. And yeah, so I was just kind of working on those farming areas by the avocado trees and the plantain trees, trying to make it blend in nicely by using a bunch of terrain tools, or not tools, terrain paints, and like layering terrain paint and stuff like that. And then here, this shed is actually very much on the edge of the lot, so I barely had any space for any landscaping here, which was a little bit bothersome to me because I was in my zone. Like I explained, and I was just doing landscaping upon landscaping, but I couldn't really place anything there, which I feel like makes sense because again, that still like blends in with the surrounding area. There's a literal patch of landscaping right behind it, which is just not on the lot, but like in the surrounding area. And I feel like that still like makes it blend in nicely. So yeah, that actually worked out fine. And then here I placed a couple of chickens, or not a couple of chickens, I placed a chicken coop here out front. I thought I wanted to have that more in the back, but I just thought it looked so cute out front. So we just have a nice little chicken coop out front there. It is kind of close to the pond, which realistically maybe is not the safest, but I guess maybe these are beach chickens and they know how to swim. Probably not, but you know, it's The Sims and they won't fall in the pond, so it's gonna be fine anyway. But that was definitely something I was concerned about, but I just thought it looked really cute there, so I placed it there anyway. And then I just went through debug and tried to make the lot, besides like fully landscaped, I also tried to make it look more like lived in and as if there's actual people working and living around here. So I placed that debug clothesline, which I think is really cute, and those fish, like a little fish rack kind of thing. I placed that outside as well. I parked a truck from Horse Ranch, which I thought was kind of funny, so I placed that as well. We have a swing set outside for the kids to use. And then I also placed these barrels for the horses. I was thinking that especially the teenager in this house, she is very much into horse riding. So maybe they have a horse and then maybe a foal as well. And she is trying to saddle that horse when it becomes a little bit older. I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like she is way into horse riding and just horses in general. Maybe she wants to become like a professional horse trainer in the future. I thought that would be cute. So that's why we have the horses here. And I went for 2 horses because I always feel like that's nicer for the horses themselves. You know, they can just hang out together. And after that, I just went and placed a few extra decorations on the roofs as well because I felt like it needed that. I also placed a couple of holes in the roofs, which I thought was kind of realistic. I did want this to come across as a bit of an older house that has been in the family for multiple generations. So I thought it'd be nice to have some holes in the roof there. I love those like details from the Life and Death expansion pack. I think they're so good. So So yeah, I placed this on the roof. And then after that, I just started decorating the wraparound porch. So I did that first and then moved on to the inside of the house. And then out front here, we just have this really nice area that is quite spacious. So I ended up placing a nice outdoor lounge area. It would be so nice to hang out there. I feel like you have this beautiful view over your own like farm, I guess, but then there's also the ocean and all these plants and trees, and it would just be such a treat to actually like spend time in this house, let alone live here. That would be a dream, I guess. In my opinion, at least, I feel like that would be so nice. And then I was just kind of going around trying to see where I had space for different stuff and things, I guess, because the wraparound porch isn't actually that spacious. It goes around the entire house, so it's big in that sense, but it's not super wide, aside from a couple of areas here out front where I had space for a lounge area, and I had space for a dining table back there as well, which is still a little bit cramped, so it's definitely not the largest space, but it's kind of nice that it wraps around the entire house. So I was trying to place different activities out here. I thought that would be super useful. So out here, I also placed a woodworking table. I thought that would be nice. And then, like I said, inside we actually have a really nice crafting area with an easel, and then also an arts table, or like a crafting table for children, which I thought was nice. And then of course we had to place a yoga mat, because yoga on a beach like this, well, it's not on the beach, it's on the porch, but still, yoga with this view, I feel like that would be such a dream. And I do feel like the person that does yoga out here, I think this is attached to the grandparents' room. So maybe it's the grandparent that is into yoga. Maybe they like roll up their mat and take it to the beach and like do yoga by the ocean. I feel like that's what I would do. So, I mean, maybe the sim does that as well. And then I also placed a little bar area here and a chess table. So definitely try to include all sorts of different activities for your sims to do. I really tried to think of everything, and I feel like it worked out in the end. So that was really good. And also, of course, a bunch of plants, just like potted plants, hanging plants. They're all represented here in this house. I definitely overused this hanging plant from the Blooming Rooms kit. If you are familiar with my builds, you'll know that I use that Blooming Rooms kit at least once every build. More often than not, it's there multiple times, and it's definitely a overused item. I feel like if there were statistics on like your most used items in this game, that would be so fun, by the way. I feel like that hanging plant would definitely be way up there for me, which is kind of problematic, but I do think it's really pretty, and it just works out so nicely here. So yeah, the area with the bar and the chess table and the yoga mat is actually closest by the grandparents' room. And then the master bedroom over here actually has this outdoor area where I didn't really have a lot of space, but I ended up placing a small bench and an armchair. And then here off of the kitchen, I actually ended up placing an outdoor dining area, which is the second one. There is another outdoor dining area out front as well, but I actually placed a larger area here, of course, which is literally right off of the dining room. Actually, I should say it's not off of the kitchen, but the kitchen's right next to it as well. And then I placed a grill. I really like this more worn looking, like used looking grill from the For Rent expansion pack. I think that one's so cool. So I ended up placing that one out there. I think it's For Rent. It might be Lovestruck, but I think it's For Rent. And I just thought that was so cool. And then I found this bar back, which I think is also from For Rent, if I'm not mistaken. And I love it. I think it looks so cool. It looks sort of tropical, which makes sense because Tomarang, the world from Lovestruck, is actually also kind of tropical. So yeah, it kind of makes sense like that, that the stuff from both For Rent and also Island Living kind of work together well. So that was a nice find. I definitely had to squeeze it in there. It's kind of small out there, but it did end up working out, and no routing issues there either. So that was perfect. And then we moved on to the interior. So for this house, there isn't really a closed off entryway or anything. You just kind of walk through the open barn doors, and then that's your living room right there. And it's very colorful. I also ended up not placing a TV in here. We do have a computer in this house, a family computer, but no TV or anything, because I feel like these people living here aren't really TV type people. I almost placed a TV in the main bedroom, like the parents' bedroom, because they had the perfect spot right across their bed for like an end table with a TV, you know, so that I almost did that, but I actually ended up not doing that. I placed a mirror instead, I think, because I just really like the idea of this being a TV free household. I mean, they do have a computer, so there's that for the teenager. We were kind of pretending that the teenager loves to play Sims. And then there's also a piano in that same area. So we were like, okay, so what if the teenager just really wants to play Sims on the family computer in peace, but then their little sibling loves to play the piano. They want to become a professional pianist, so they're always practicing the piano, and like it's right across from each other. So that would be definitely a conflict of interest, and I think that would be kind of funny. We were kind of coming up with those little details for the storyline as we were decorating this on stream, actually. And so, yeah, since it's a multiple generation family home with, in my mind, 5 people living here. So 1 grandparent, 2 parents, and then 2 children, or a teenager and a child. So that would be 5 Sims, and then 1 cat, and then 2 horses, which is 8 slots total. So I guess that is the max for this household in any case. So yeah, that's what we were thinking. So it's definitely kind of crowded here, and so we were thinking kind of on the messy side of things. Not necessarily very messy, but it's kind of cluttered and lived in, and definitely very colorful. You can tell that already by the living room. I love the color of the couch that I used in combination with the throw pillows. I went for like pink throw pillows and orange ones, and it just looks so good with this blue teal-ish color for the couch. That's actually one of the newer swatches that were added kind of recently. I mean, it's been a while at this point, but it's kind of recently still though. So yeah, that was so nice, and it just blends in perfectly with the colors, the brighter colored stuff from the Sulani stuff, or the Island Living stuff, I should say. And I was feeling super inspired by the color scheme of this rug that I placed in the living room. I don't think I've used that specific colorway for this rug before. It is from Island Living itself, and I've definitely used this rug before, but I don't think I've ever felt inspired to use this exact one, because it's very loud when it comes to the colors, as you can probably tell. But I felt super inspired by the colors on that, and I basically just based the entire color scheme for the living room off of that rug, and I just think it looks so fun. It is such a pretty rug, and especially for a colorful house like this, it just works out perfectly. Then here in this corner in the living room, I actually went for that family computer area, so we have a nice office space here. Definitely had to make use of the comfy gamer kit that came out last week. I just love that kit so much. So I placed this computer and then also the PC next to it, which doesn't really make any sense, but we're just kind of pretending that the computer that I placed is just the monitor, you know? We're just kind of pretending that that's what's going on here. And then I placed that separate computer as well, which I just think is so cool. I can't stop using it. I've been wanting that for so long. It's such a random item, but I've been wanting that for so long. I don't know. I really can't stop using it. It is so fun. And then in here, I also went for a collection of not necessarily mismatch, but a collection of different types of shelving units that you can tell don't really match. They're not really the same style. So that's what I mean when I say it's like a mix and match of older pieces and newer pieces, and maybe hand-me-downs or heirlooms versus stuff that they recently kind of bought because they needed a replacement, something like that. So that's what I was going for. And then I tried to keep the floor plan sort of closed off, but at the same time sort of open, if that makes any sense, because this is a larger house. And for big houses like this, I just like to go for more closed off floor plans because it makes it easier for me to decorate. It feels like we have multiple smaller rooms versus one really large open space that is kind of overwhelming, and I'm not sure how to make that cozy. So I went for this closed off floor plan, but instead of doors or arches, I actually created my own wider arches by placing columns and then spandrels in between those. So it really opens up the space, but it still feels like you have separate spaces for everything, if that makes sense. And that always just really helps me when it comes to decorating larger homes like this. It's definitely less overwhelming that way, so that's what I did. But it feels very, very open, and like it flows together pretty naturally, I would say. So yeah, here in this space, in between the living room and the kitchen, I guess, is where we have the formal, well, I guess it's not really formal, but it is the only dining room space that we have here inside. So it's a nice 8-seater dining table. I thought that would be nice if they have other family over. I do feel like this is definitely the kind of family that has always lived here in Sulani. So there's probably a lot of extended family in the world as well. So they have a lot of aunts and uncles, cousins, everyone just kind of living in Sulani. So maybe they're very much into hosting family dinner nights or like parties at the house, because their house is huge, you know, so it'd definitely be easier to host parties here versus in any smaller home if you have a large family, that is. So yeah, and there's also just a lot of activities to do, of course, so that also makes it nice to just kind of host parties here. So maybe that's what they're into and what I wanted to sort of make space for. And then here we have the kitchen, which I think turned out so much fun. This kitchen was way out of my comfort zone. First of all, when it comes to the colors that I used a matching set of tiles here for the floors and the wallpaper. Those tiles are from the Riviera Retreat kit, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I believe that's what they're from. And they're so pretty. This teal color, or teal greenish, was perfect for this house, and it was very out there and just definitely something I wouldn't normally go for. So that's what I went with, and then I paired it with these wood cabinets from Horse Ranch to kind of get that farmhouse look and feel across. So that's what I used, and then I combined it with these more colorful appliances. I think those are from the Country Kitchen kit. At first I had the blue ones, but that wasn't really the vibe, and I actually chose these really light pink, like pastel pink ones that I think are so pretty, and it just looks so good with the color of the tiles. I just feel like it's such a nice, colorful mess in a good way, where it's like not too overwhelming, because the colors are sort of soft and like leaning pastel. So I feel like that really helps with it being not too loud and colorful and obnoxious looking. So that's what I did. We have this really nice island coming from the wall, and it's like rounded. I barely ever use the rounded islands, but it really worked nicely here in this area. So yeah, that's what I ended up doing. We have a bunch of appliances. Of course, we have a bunch of fruit because this is a farm. So I feel like we were kind of thinking, because, you know, it's a big farm and it's definitely not cheap. So these people that live here, they sort of are wealthy, but they only have a couple of trees. They have a couple of avocado trees and a couple of plantain trees. So that's not going to make you rich, you know? I feel like that's definitely not enough. So we were thinking that these people definitely have some more property, like some more fields, some more crops elsewhere, maybe close by here on the island somewhere, just not on this specific lot. But you know, whatever they have on their lot right now, it's definitely not enough for this. Like, they can't afford this entire farm just for those few trees that I placed. So we were kind of thinking that they probably have a lot more fields of crops and trees and stuff like close to the house, just like not literally right here, to kind of justify the fact that they live in this house, because it's huge and it's very expensive. It's in the family for generations though, so I feel like that kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's just like, it's this nice like generation farm, and they definitely have more fields and crops than you can actually see from this lot, you know? Let's just pretend that that's the case. In any case, here I was definitely cluttering up the kitchen nicely. I was going for all this like farmhouse type clutter that I thought would look nice. There's a lot going on here in the kitchen. I did leave a couple of counters free of decorations, so you can actually use this kitchen for cooking. I did play test that as well, so that worked out perfectly fine. There's actually one island counter across from the fridge that is functional, and then there's one right here next to the microwave as well, so that worked out perfectly fine, thankfully. And I just really enjoyed using this these light pink little decorations. We have a light pink microwave as well, and it just blends in with the appliances nicely. So I was definitely having a lot of fun. I loved this color combination here in the kitchen. It's definitely unlike any other kitchen I've ever done before. So yeah, that was a nice change of pace, and I just think it turned out really fun. And then here off of the dining room, we actually have this full bathroom. This is the only hall bathroom in the house, and we ended up turning this into a Jack and Jill because it opens up, or it borders the really spacious hallway on the other side. So someone in chat, one of my friends, suggested, hey, why not add another door? So it's kind of like a Jack and Jill situation, which makes a lot of sense because this would be the bathroom for the kids to use for the most part. And the kids' room is literally right across in the hallway as well. So it made sense to turn it into a Jack and Jill so they don't have to walk all the way around into the dining room to be able to enter the bathroom. So, you know, making it a Jack and Jill was actually perfect for that. But yeah, the bathroom was not that interesting, but it's just a very normal little bathroom in my very regular bathroom layout. I didn't record the other bathrooms because they're essentially the same same. I think I literally copied over this bathroom actually and placed it in the other ones because they're the same exact size. So that's what I ended up doing, and it worked out perfectly fine. And then here off of the living room space, we actually have this craft room, which I think was so cute. That was actually an accident. I had planned to actually turn this into an office, but then I already had placed an office area in the living room, like a family computer area. So I had this space sort of left over, and I was thinking I could have turned it into a bedroom, of course. But then I was like, you know what? Let's actually turn it into a craft room. I think that would be really, really cute. Maybe someone in this household or a few people in this household are very creative. They like to do their crafts. They like to do knitting and cross stitching and all that stuff. So I actually placed those items here in this little crafts room, and it gave me an excuse to use this really cute shelf from the Comfy Gamer kit that I really like. It's one of those more modern furniture pieces that I used in here, and I just love that thing, and I love cluttering it up with all the different types of boxes and storage and magazines and like all the knickknacks. So yeah, that was really fun for me to do that. And in this area we have this nice chair here that would be the knitting chair, of course. And we also have an easel in there and a craft space for children as well, which I thought was cute. And then over here we have this really big hallway, and this hallway literally has no business being this huge. It is literally huge. But the way I did the floor plan, it just made the most sense to have this be a really nice spacious hallway that leads you into all the bedrooms and the bathroom, and there's also a laundry space in here. It's been a minute since I've actually placed laundry in one of my builds. I usually just shy away from it because I know that gameplay wise a lot of people find laundry very annoying because it's definitely sort of bugged. So yeah, a lot of people just delete it anyway. I liked to use it like not way back in the day, but before I used to actually kind of place it always because I just really like that sense of realism, and I really like creating laundry spaces. I don't know what it is with that, but I just think it's so cozy and super realistic as well. But I haven't really been doing that lately, but for this hallway, since it was so big, I figured, you know what, we might as well just put laundry in because what else are we gonna put in here? And this was also the moment where we actually decided that we were gonna have a cat because we had that much space. I was like, okay, we need to plonk a cat tree in here because we need to fill up this space somehow. So we decided to actually get a cat for the household, placed a cat tree, placed a litter box, and also some toys, and of course some food in the kitchen as well. And then the cat tree, which is kind of funny, the cat tree actually faces the aquarium in the hallway, so the cat can look at the fishies. It's kind of scary for the fish, but you know, the cat would probably enjoy that. It's not like the cat can reach them because it's a closed-off aquarium, so that should be fine, but you know, it was a kind of funny placement. And then the first bedroom that we're decorating is actually the shared room for a teenager and a child. Age-wise, I was thinking the teenager would be around 15 years old and the kid would be around, I don't know, maybe 10, 11-ish, so more of a preteen than a kid, but we don't really have preteens in the game, so I decorated it for a kid. And we were just kind of pretending that they would be an older kid and the teenager would be a younger teenager, because teenagers definitely don't look 15 in the game. They look like 18 or 19. They basically look like adults. I mean, it obviously depends on how you clothe them and like how you actually do their hair and stuff. Obviously that makes a huge difference. That is definitely something randomly that I've been trying to do a lot more recently for my gameplay. I play Not So Berry over on Twitch every week, and whenever my kids turn into teenagers, I always really try to not make them look like literal adults, because it's so easy to do that because they literally do look like adults. But if you actually pay attention to their clothes and their hair and just, you know, their little details, I feel like you can definitely make them look a little bit younger. So yeah, that's what I was going for here in this bedroom. It's definitely kind of messy. We have an area for toys here because there's also a kid in this room. So yeah, I had to place some toys. There's a really tiny homework desk kind of moment for the teenager, and just a bunch of storage and knickknacks and a lot of clutter in there. I was having a lot of fun with that bedroom. And then over here on the other side is where we have the grandparents' bedroom, and I was imagining one grandparent. Not sure if it would be a grandma, grandpa, I'm not exactly sure, but we just have one grandparent here in the house. And this room is a little bit more on the colorful side of things as well, and they have a nice ensuite. Like I already said, I didn't actually record those ensuites because I literally just copied over the hall bathroom and called it a day. But yeah, they do have an ensuite, and then in here they have just a couple of nice, I guess, just dressers and some storage across from the bed. A little bit of a mix and match of different items here. We have that really nice dresser from the Sulani pack, and then I also placed one of the Growing Together ones. I was definitely embracing the like wicker furniture. I feel like I used basically all the wicker furniture in the game that I could find, for the most part, that is. So yeah, I was definitely enjoying that. And it definitely matches in that sense, but it's not entirely the same style, which I think was really fun to do. And then here in the parents' or in the grandparents' room, I also placed a cat tree. I thought that would be really nice. And then just a nice bookcase and some other things. I didn't overly clutter that one, but I still think it turned out really cute. And then for the parents' bedroom, this one's actually really spacious. So I ended up closing off, or not closing off this area entirely, but I ended up placing 2 walk-in closets here facing each other. I thought that was kind of fancy, kind of bougie. Maybe this is one of the bedrooms that was more recently maybe renovated. The furniture in here is a little bit more recent, I guess you could say. I used some for rent items in here. I've said this before, but I feel like the for rent stuff pairs really nicely with the I'm Living stuff, in specific swatches, that is. So I went for the lighter wood bed and nightstands in here, which I think turned out really nice. It definitely looks like a very fancy bed with the white bedding. It's so pretty. And then here across from the bed, I placed this Sulani or Island Living dresser, so you can kind of tell like how nicely they kind of flow together. It's not too perfect, but it looks really, really pretty. So that's what I did. I actually did end up changing the color for the wall here because I really like this white paneling, but it's so white that I feel like it kind of takes away from the coziness of the space. And that just felt like it felt a little awkward because the rest of the house is definitely very cozy. We have like warm colors and just like a mix and match of different colors. In any case, it's like very colorful. So this room just felt a little bit too white. So I actually ended up swatching the white paneling out for this more beige, like wood tone paneling, which looks a little bit more monotone, I guess, when it comes to the floor and the walls being sort of the same color. But it definitely feels a lot warmer and more cozy in the bedroom that way. So that's what I ended up doing. And then last but not least, of course, here we have this shed. I didn't really have a lot of space here in the shed for decorations, but I obviously placed a couple things. I placed a couple of horse-related things, some barrels, some brooms, and just like those types of items, I guess, that you would find out here in a shed. And then, of course, I also placed a toy for the horses outside, like that nice little ball that they can play with. We have some storage items in here, and then just a couple of decorations, some hay on the floor, and then last but not least, I placed my mini sheep and my mini goats. Of course, that's the cherry on top, but that's it for this build. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you the beach farm in real time. So here we have the beach farm in the game. I just think it looks so dreamy out here on this island area. Not sure if it's an actual island. I don't think so. It kind of connects back here to this other area. Yeah, it's not necessarily a full-on island, but in any case, it is insanely dreamy and I want to move in today, ideally. So yeah, here we have the farm. Out front here, we have some fields. So we have these plantain trees. And then on the other side here is where we have some avocados. Ooh, these look a little brown at the moment. That's not good. Quality normal. These are also normal. I feel like there's some farming to do over here, but yeah, I actually sort of hid the mailbox here in this row of mailboxes. I know it makes no sense. Don't know why they would have a gazillion mailboxes, but it's fine. I think it looks cute. And I sort of created this like driveway or pathway leading up to the house. There's a chicken coop over here. We have some laundry hanging out to dry. I actually sort of hid some lounge chairs over here under this really beautiful tree. There is the fake swimming area over here, and back here is a grill type thing. And then zooming over to the other side, we have the swing set here, and this is of course where we have the shed. And look at my little mini sheep and mini goats. They are just simply so cute. There's more of them, but where are they? Oh, they're hanging out in here. Oh, look at them. They're so cute. I need to use these more often. They're absolutely adorable. So yeah, there is that. And then of course we have of the entire house itself, and I guess the front porch, or the wraparound porch, I should say. I feel like this house looks very inviting. It's nice and colorful. There's a bunch of plants everywhere. So when you first walk up to the house over here, on this side is where we have a small dining area, or just like a hangout space, I guess. I also placed a bunch of these hanging plants around the house because that was just so fitting. And then over here is a lounge area, of course. I tried to set this up nice and spaciously, so there's a lot of routing around. There's also a few planter boxes here. If you want to do some extra gardening, you can do that. Back here is a woodworking table. You can do some yoga, and then a really cozy hangout area here with a nice bench and chess and a sneaky bar kind of tucked away in the corner as well. And then along this wall here is where we have some extra planter boxes. You can look at the stars over here. This connects to the main bedroom, and then when you walk around here, we have the outdoor dining space that's connected to the actual dining room inside as well. And this is where we have the grill and some outdoor bins as well. So let's actually go inside, shall we? You just kind of walk straight into the living room here, and I'm obsessed with this colorful mess. I just think it looks so fun. And as you can definitely tell, I was feeling inspired by the colors of this rug. So you can tell by the couches and the throw pillows that that kind of blends in nicely. And I love that color green in the rug as well. So we have some clutter on the coffee table. There are a couple of nice purple bookcases here on either end of the door. And then in the corner here is a home office or family computer area. I also really like this collage of pictures. This is actually from the Secret Sanctuary kit that came out recently. It's so pretty. And then there is this very fitting underwater piano. It couldn't be more perfect, honestly. And I placed a fishbowl on top. I'm sorry to that fish. It's probably not the most comfortable when someone's playing the piano and then that fish is just kind of swimming around there. But this is The Sims, so those things don't really matter, okay? Off of the living room on this side is where we have that craft space. So there is a knitting chair over here, an easel, of course, and a kids craft table, and then just a bunch of storage and decorations. And on this side is the dining and kitchen, which kind of feels like one open space, but not really, if that makes sense. So we have a nice 8-seater dining table here in the middle of the room that's nice and cluttered, but not overly so. And then there's also a bar over here, which I thought would be nice. So we have that, and then a couple of different shelving units. And then obviously there's the kitchen over here, which is also very nice and cluttered and lived in. I just think it looks very realistic in that sense. And all the colors just speak to me. After all those wintry type builds, it's just so refreshing to come back to all these summery colors. We have this island in the middle here. We have two sinks facing each other, which is a little extra, but I like it. Back here is where we have that giant hallway. So here we have basically all the other knickknacks that you can't really place anywhere else and that fill up the space in here nicely. So we just have a laundry space, a cat tree, a litter box, and then the fish tank as well. I never use the fish tanks, but I think it's perfect for a Sulani house. So I need to remember to use those more often. Of course, there's the hall bathroom over here as well, which is nothing too fancy, but it is a nice Jack and Jill. So routing wise, that's really nice. Over here is the main bedroom. So this one feels a bit more luxurious. It's a little bit bigger than the rest of the bedrooms as well. I do like this warm toned wallpaper that I went for instead of the white one. It just feels more cozy that way. Loving this set from For Rent in here. I just think that works really well. They have a dresser over here with some decorations and then a couple of walk-in wardrobes. Very luxurious. And then of course their ensuite over here. The grandparents' bedroom is on this side. It is a little bit more colorful than the parents' room. Had a little bit more fun with colors for this one, but it's not overly cluttered. We have some green and some blue going on. I thought this painting from Lovestruck was the perfect match for this color scheme, so that was really nice. Is it Lovestruck or For Rent? I keep confusing the two. I'm not sure, but it works. There's some storage here across from the bed, and then of course some stuff for the cat as well. And they have their ensuite over here. And then last but not least is the shared kids and teens room. This one's very cluttered. I like the layout of it. It's a little awkward, but it ends up working kind of well. We have this lofted bed, or bunk beds, I should say, of course, and then these really cluttered desk and nightstand or like dresser area. Some really cute items, again, from the Comfy Gamer kit. I just can't stop using that one. Some toys in the corner here. So this is a nice play area for the kid. Some extra knickknacks on this unit over here, and then a shared wardrobe area for the siblings as well. But yeah, that is basically it for the beach farm. So this beach farmhouse is up on the gallery. The thumbnail is very interesting. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think this is some kind of rock that's in front of it. This is not my rock. This is just in the world. So there's nothing we can do about that, but that's okay. It uses a bunch of packs. It is definitely, again, not a limited pack build. It's on a 50 by 50 actually. I thought it was a 50 by 40, but it's a 50 by 50. And it has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, and it comes in at just under 144,000 simoleons. So yikes. And this, of course, is the fully furnished version. I also have an unfurnished version. It looks like it's not on the gallery, but it actually is. So if you want to get this one with just the exterior done, but no interior, and furnish it yourself, I did do the entire floor plan, so you could use that. You could actually get it unfurnished off the gallery as well. But that's gonna do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download this off the gallery like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is Simmary Sims. You can follow me on Instagram if you like. My username on there is Simmary Sims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so, and if you'd like to get notified every single time I upload, just click that little bell icon. I also stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/Simmary Sims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!